Unleashing Your Authentic Joy, a Revolution of Self-Expression. Welcome to the Black CEO Podcast, where we dive deep into conversations that challenge, inspire, and transform. Today, we're embarking on a journey that will shake the foundations of how you view therapy, joy, and authenticity. I had the incredible privilege of sitting down with Nickia Miller, a visionary therapist and joy advocate who's redefining what it means to live authentically in our community. Nickia isn't just changing lives, she's igniting a revolution of self expression that's spreading like wildfire across our communities. Her approach to therapy and joy is nothing short of groundbreaking, and by the end of this talk, you'll see why her impact is reverberating far beyond the walls of her practice. Now, let me ask you a question that might make you squirm in your seat a little. Are you living your life, or are you living someone else's version of it? Take a moment to really sit with that. It's a heavy question, isn't it? We're often so caught up in the whirlwind of expectations, trying to fit into boxes that were never meant for us, that we forget to check if we're actually happy. But here's where Nickia's wisdom comes in, shaking up everything we thought we knew about personal growth and happiness. She dropped this truth bomb on me, and I'm still reeling from it. Therapy isn't just about facing your pain, it's about rocking life till the wheels fall off, baby. Now let that sink in for a moment. We've been conditioned to think of therapy as this somber, serious thing where we dig up all our traumas and cry it out. But what if it's actually the key to unlocking a life so vibrant, so authentically you, that you can't help but dance through it? But here's where it gets real, folks. Your joy, it belongs to you. It's not a hand me down from your parents, it's not a carbon copy of your friend's Instagram feed. And it sure as hell isn't what society says it should be. Nickia put it perfectly. Your joy won't look like everybody else's because God did not make you to be an else. You are that one. Let's break that down for a second. How many of us are out here trying to fit our square peg of joy into the round hole of societal expectations? We see people living their best lives on social media and think, that's what happiness looks like. I need to do that. But here's the truth bomb. That's their joy, not yours. I want you to think about a time when you felt truly, unabashedly happy. Maybe it was something small like that first sip of coffee in the morning or belting out your favorite song in the car. Or maybe it was something big, achieving a goal you've been working towards for years. Whatever it was, I bet it felt uniquely you. That's because joy isn't one size fits all. It's as unique as your fingerprint, as individual as your DNA. Now let's talk about black joy for a minute. Nickia emphasized something crucial. I believe in black folk joy. In a world that often tries to define us by our struggles, by the but he did this and she did that, we need to reclaim our narrative. Our joy is revolutionary. It's a statement. It's saying, yes, we face challenges, but we are so much more than that. Think about it. When was the last time you saw a portrayal of black joy in the media that wasn't tied to overcoming some hardship? That wasn't framed as despite everything, they found happiness. It's rare, right? But that's not our reality. Our joy isn't always in spite of something. Sometimes it's just because we're alive, because we're together, because we're us. Nickia's words hit hard. Let's hit the world with how we really do and highlight us, not just what whack TV shows that fetishize and demoralize us. It's time to change the narrative. It's time to show the world that our joy is not the exception, it's the rule. But here's where it gets tricky. In our quest for joy, in our journey to live authentically, we often bump up against fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not fitting in, fear of being too much or not enough. And that fear, it's a joy killer. It's the thing that keeps us small, that stops us from dancing when the music moves us, from speaking up when we have something to say, from loving fully and living loudly. So, how do we combat this fear? How do we step into our joy, our authentic selves, when everything around us seems to be saying, stay in your lane? Well, that's where therapy comes in, but not the kind of therapy you're thinking of. We're talking about the kind of therapy that Nickia describes, the kind that helps you rock life until the wheels fall off. This kind of therapy isn't about rehashing your past traumas over and over. It's not about fitting yourself into some predetermined box of normal. It's about understanding yourself. embracing your quirks and learning to love the parts of you that society might have told you to hide. Imagine walking into a therapist's office, and instead of being asked, what's wrong? You're asked, what brings you joy? Imagine a therapeutic process that's less about fixing what's broken and more about amplifying what's already amazing about you. That's the kind of therapy we need to embrace. But here's the catch. This journey isn't always easy. It requires courage. It requires you to look fear in the eye and say, not today, Satan. It requires you to be willing to feel uncomfortable, to stand out, to be different. Because remember, you're not an else. You're that one. Let me share a story with you that Nickia told me. It's about a client of hers. Let's call her Maya. Maya came to Nickia feeling lost, trapped in a high-paying job that looked great on paper but left her feeling empty inside. She was afraid to leave because, well, what would people think? A successful black woman walking away from a six-figure salary seemed crazy. But as Nickia worked with Maya, she helped her uncover her true passion, urban gardening. Maya's eyes would light up when she talked about plants, about creating green spaces and concrete jungles, but she was terrified of pursuing it. What if I fail? She'd ask. What if people think I'm throwing my life away? Nickia's response, what if you succeed? What if you create something beautiful that changes not just your life, but your whole community? It took time, it took courage, but Maya eventually took the leap. She started small with community garden projects on weekends, but soon her passion became impossible to ignore. Today, Maya runs a thriving urban landscaping business. She's not just creating gardens, she's creating jobs. She's creating hope in areas that were once concrete deserts. But here's the kicker. Maya's joy doesn't look like what society might expect for a successful black woman. She's often covered in dirt. She works long hours in the sun, and her hands are calloused. But the smile on her face, it's radiant. The impact she's having, it's immeasurable. That's what happens when you embrace your unique joy, when you have the courage to be authentically you. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, but what about the hard times? What about when life isn't joyful? And that's a valid question. Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows. We face challenges, we experience loss, we go through periods of struggle. But here's the thing, joy isn't the absence of hardship. It's the ability to find light even in the darkest times. Nickia talks about this. She emphasizes that therapy isn't just about facing your pain. It's about learning how to rock life even when life is rocky. It's about building resilience, about finding your inner strength, about knowing that you have the power to create joy even when circumstances aren't ideal. Think about our ancestors. Think about the generations of black folk who came before us. They faced unimaginable hardships, yet they still found ways to create joy. They sang, they danced, they loved, they laughed. They understood something fundamental, that joy is a form of resistance, that in a world that often tries to break you down, choosing joy is an act of defiance. So when we talk about black folk joy, we're not talking about ignoring the realities of our lives or the challenges we face. We're talking about refusing to be defined by those challenges. We're talking about claiming our right to fullness of life, to exuberance, to celebration. But let's get practical for a moment. How do we actually do this? How do we embrace our unique joy, face our fears, and live authentically in a world that often seems designed to keep us small? Well, I've got a few suggestions inspired by my conversation with Nickia and the incredible stories she shared. First, give yourself permission to be happy. It sounds simple, but it's profound. So many of us are walking around with this subconscious belief that we don't deserve joy or that we have to earn it somehow. But joy is your birthright. You don't have to wait until you've achieved certain goals or overcome certain obstacles. You can choose joy right now in this moment. Nickia told me about another client. Let's call him Marcus. Marcus was always waiting for the right time to be happy. He'd say things like, once I get that promotion, then I'll celebrate. Or when I lose 20 pounds, then I'll feel good about myself. But life kept happening, and that right time never seemed to come. Nickia challenged Marcus to find one small thing each day that brought him joy, regardless of his circumstances. At first, Marcus struggled, but slowly he started noticing things. The way the sun felt on his face during his morning walk, the sound of his daughter's laughter, the satisfaction of cooking a meal from scratch. As Marcus practiced finding joy in small moments, something remarkable happened. He became more confident at work, more present with his family, more motivated to take care of his health. By giving himself permission to experience joy now, not in some hypothetical future, Marcus transformed his life. Second, start paying attention to what truly brings you joy. Not what you think should bring you joy or what brings other people joy, but what lights you up from the inside. Maybe it's painting or cooking or playing video games or having deep conversations with friends. Whatever it is, lean into it. Make time for it. Prioritize it. Third, challenge your fears. Remember, fear is often just false evidence appearing real. The next time you feel afraid to express yourself, to pursue your dreams, to live out loud, ask yourself, what's the worst that could happen? Often you'll find that the consequences you're afraid of are far less scary than the regret of not trying. Nickia shared a powerful story about this. She had a client, let's call her Tasha, who dreamed of starting her own podcast about Black women in STEM. But Tasha was paralyzed by fear. What if no one listens? What if people think I'm not smart enough? What if I fail? Nickia worked with Tasha to challenge these fears. They looked at the evidence. Tasha was highly educated, passionate about her field, and had a unique perspective to share. They also flipped the script. What if people did listen? What if Tasha inspired young Black girls to pursue careers in science and technology? What if she succeeded? With this new perspective, Tasha found the courage to start her podcast. Was it scary? Absolutely. Did everything go perfectly? Of course not. But the impact Tasha has had is incredible. She's built a community, mentored young women, and even caught the attention of major tech companies looking to diversify their workforce. Fourth, surround yourself with people who celebrate your authentic self. This doesn't mean you need to cut everyone out of your life who doesn't get you. But it does mean prioritizing relationships with people who encourage you to be fully, unapologetically you. People who don't try to dim your light, but who help you shine even brighter. Fifth, and this is crucial, seek out representations of joy that look like you. Support Black artists, writers, filmmakers who are telling stories of Black joy. Share those stories. Create your own stories. Be a living, breathing example of Black folk joy in action. And finally, consider therapy, but not just any therapy. Look for a therapist who understands the unique experiences of Black folk, who can help you navigate the intersection of personal growth and cultural identity. Someone who sees therapy not just as a tool for healing trauma, but as a pathway to living your most joyful, authentic life. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but it's easier said than done. And you're right. Living authentically, embracing your unique joy is not always easy. There will be days when fear feels overwhelming, days when it seems easier to shrink yourself to fit in, days when joy feels out of reach. But here's what I want you to remember in those moments. Remember that you are not an else. You are that one. You are uniquely and wonderfully made. Your joy, your self expression, your very existence is a gift to this world. And by embracing that, by living that truth, you're not just changing your own life, you're changing the world around you. Every time you choose joy in the face of fear, every time you express yourself authentically, every time you refuse to be defined by others' expectations, you're creating a ripple effect. You're showing others that it's possible. You're expanding the definition of what it means to be Black, what it means to be joyful, what it means to be human. Nickia shared one last story with me that I think perfectly encapsulates this idea. She told me about a community event she organized called the Joy Parade. The concept was simple. People would march through the neighborhood dressed in whatever made them feel most joyful and authentic. There was no cause to protest, no petition to sign. The only goal was to express and celebrate joy. At first, people were hesitant. Some worried about looking foolish. Others wondered what the point was. But as the parade started, something magical happened. People came out of their houses to watch. Children joined in, dancing along the sidewalks. Elderly folks waved from their porches, big smiles on their faces. By the end of the parade route, it had grown from a small group to hundreds of people, all expressing their unique brand of joy. There were people in elaborate costumes, people playing instruments, people simply walking and laughing with friends. It was a beautiful, chaotic celebration of Black joy in all its forms. But the impact didn't end when the parade did. Nickia heard stories for weeks afterward. People who had been inspired to pursue long forgotten passions, neighbors who had connected for the first time, children who couldn't stop talking about how fun it was to see grown-ups being silly and happy. That parade did more than just create a fun afternoon. It showed an entire community the power of embracing joy, of being authentically yourself. It created a ripple effect of positivity and self expression that continued long after the last dancer had gone home. So I want to leave you with a challenge. For the next week, I want you to commit to one act of authentic joy each day. It doesn't have to be big. Maybe it's wearing that outfit you love but have been afraid to wear in public. Maybe it's sharing that idea you've been sitting on because you were afraid of rejection. Maybe it's simply allowing yourself to laugh out loud, to dance like nobody's watching, to sing at the top of your lungs. Whatever it is, do it. And when you do, pay attention to how it feels. Notice the energy it creates, not just in you, but in the people around you. Notice how it changes the way you move through the world. Because here's the truth: the world needs your joy, the world needs your authentic self. In a time when there's so much darkness, so much division, your joy is a light. Your authenticity is a bridge. Your willingness to be fully, unapologetically you is a revolutionary act. So let's take Nickia Miller's wisdom to heart. Let's rock life until the wheels fall off. Let's embrace therapy as a tool for joy, not just healing. Let's show the world the true depth and breadth of Black folk joy. And most importantly, let's remember that we are not else's, we are that one, unique, beautiful, and worthy of all the joy this life has to offer. I want you to imagine a world where every Black person felt free to express their joy fully and authentically. Imagine the art we'd create, the businesses we'd build, the communities we'd foster. Imagine the healing that could happen, the barriers that could be broken, the love that could flourish. That world is possible. But it starts with you. It starts with me. It starts with each of us having the courage to embrace our unique joy, to live authentically, to rock life until the wheels fall off. So I challenge you, no, I dare you to step into your joy, to be unapologetically, radiantly you, to let your light shine so brightly that it illuminates the path for others. Because when you do, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the world. Let's start a joy revolution right here, right now. Let's show the world the true power of Black folk joy. Are you ready? Because the world is waiting for your unique, beautiful, joyful self. It's time to answer the call. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Now go out there and shine your light. The world needs your joy. The world needs you.